Okay, it's working, my bad. Wait, is it working? As in, I can hear myself, yeah. Oh, deep breath, man. So I just thought I'd announce this now. That this whole video thing is just a backbone for the actual lore I'm writing, story. So everything here, there's no details on the leaders. Oop. I'm gonna tick it off so you can kind of get my process of thought. There's no detail on leaders. I'm having a nice stinker right now. No detail on leaders. There's no detail on dates. There's no detail on thoughts and feelings. There's no detail on actual conflict, really. There's no detail on like assassinations, important events in general. And there's no detail on like conferences and treaties. So the thing I'm writing up entirely my own brain. I mean, I said I don't use AI. I use AI only in comparing things. That sounds so dodgy now. But I mean, like, I'd say, is this grammatically correct? Because I'm not the best at spelling. Is this grammatically not? Does this make sense with, like, as a metaphor? Does this actually make sense what I'm trying to say? And then he'll tell me yes or no. Mostly yes, because I just worry if it makes sense or not. Anyways, so yeah, let's get back onto this. So this is approach with the greatest extent of Russia. They've neglected their allies down here. They forged a peace with China. And let's be real, they'll probably get what's common to them for abandoning everyone. They thought it was a good strategy. We're about to learn it wasn't. Maybe. I might just eat. Who knows? Maybe I did. So, essentially, the Russians try one more mass push in Iberia. They do make some progress from the shock of the offensive alone. As in, the ITO didn't expect something so big, so fast. But ultimately, it was suicide. They lost hundreds of thousands, and an armoured spearhead, pincer maneuver rather, forced them back to the Pyrenees and crushed another 100,000 of men here. And France begins to be liberated. Now they've lost the Pyrenees, they have no logical place to hold anymore. So they have to fall back to the next best place, being, or A, these mountains here in front, or the Alps, more, as well as the river line near Nantes. Oh no, I'm not French. And then a pre-made fallback line they'd already built was around here along the Alps, right? As well as Alsace, they'd fortified, but the rest just fell. Yeah, I don't know what I want to say. Like, it's just not very easy to not. It's not easy to bloody words to defend. There you go. But they hold up to the Swiss mountains here. They hold not the Swiss mountains, but the French Alps. Okay, they hold the Rhine River, and they hold the river along Brussels and what's it called Antwerp. So yes, that's about the gains in Western Europe for now. One tactical nuke on city here that's messing up. That's not. I'll tell you that for sure. And they start pushing up the Italian peninsula, which is an absolute drag of a war, but they didn't, a battle rather. They did not expect a landing surrounding Rome. They captured Rome and split the peninsula in half, forcing their army, the Russian army or the Warsaw Pact army, to better positions on both the north, holding the Alps, and the south, holding that one mountain range here that I forget the name of. Eventually, Naples is captured, so is their major supply line, and yeah, it's not looking too good for Russian armies now. They're desperately holding last defences everywhere. Norway pretty much holds, obviously. It's just a wasteland in that bit. Very nice place though. Anyways, the ITO do another little spearhead here to cut off the south of Arabia. which is just pulled out of by the Russians. You don't see a point holding it anymore because it's not even worth the resources to hold the oil. They start pushing. The ISO start pushing. ITO starts pushing up the Arabian Peninsula here, liberating some of Syria and Turkey, or their Turkey, not the other one. Yeah. It really annoyed me how I said Turkey just then. I don't know if you picked up on how disgusting I said that. But however, in Asia though, they're still doing quite well. Even pushing to Delhi, to the Himalayas here, and a bit further into the other India, and capturing a load of forces there. But that's about as far as they get, because they still need to focus into collapsing fronts everywhere else. Yeah. I know I said yeah, like I just gotta focus up. Okay, so now the ITO are left with several options. Push them back in Norway, which is suicide. Push them back in the Benelux, which is looking pretty much better option. Push them back in the Rhine, the Alps, which is horrendous. Or try a naval landing, which is very risky, because it's in the heart of millions of mobilised men here. So, what they choose is one into the Benelux. And they start with, like, I'll say some paratroops over here. In some flashbacks. I think Montgomery's long dead by now, but anyways, yeah. So they start a small little skirmish along the river, and then that small skirmish turns into a pretty big armoured spearhead here, which forces a holdout in Belgium to surrender. And now several paratroopers on some bigger Dutch supply depots, i.e. Rotterdam and Amsterdam, gives them the advantage in pushing up. Well, this is a very costly operation, but it's to liberate Europe. But we'll see the side effects later. I haven't thinking about it, don't worry. And in the end, the majority of Netherlands is liberated, and the Russian army is forced to pull back further and further. At this point, they're so deorganized in the Ardennes region that Luxembourg falls as well, and they start pushing to Germany. And now Russia are pretty much just downward spiraling, just trying to hold on to what they have left, which is still quite a lot, but their armed forces are quite, how do you say, unorganized at this point. A small naval landing, that was an absolute bloodbath, took place in Marseille and Nice region. Now they did not expect this. They start falling back a little bit, still into the defended mountain line to try to stop it. But after several thousand American casualties in one of their heavy armoured divisions, they force them back. Push up here, force them to fall further back until they press them against the Swiss Alps. And then, yeah, it's just a cataclysm at that point. They don't meant to hold the lines anymore. They get pushed back further. And this is one consecutive line in Europe now. Same thing sort of happens here, but with the Rhine River, and they start the spearhead through Austria, pushing up through Italy, southern Germany, until they get to about here. Until this offensive is getting really costly for the ITO to hold up now, so they kind of slow things down a little bit, but they know Russia's on the back foot, back leg rather. For now, Russia are looking at this and seeing, wow, they've just expended lots of resources trying to beat us back, so let's just do one last counter-offensive and see if it works, and if not, it's probably we're going to die anyways, so we sacrificed everyone else for us. Well, not just us, but all these guys and these guys. So, they start a million men concentrated to break the Benelux and cut them in half again. And they make it through half of Belgium to Luxembourg, absolutely shattering the Allied centre of command. They did not expect this. I say Allied a lot, but you get what I mean. They pushed down to the Swiss Alps here, and across, back up to Cherbourg. And they didn't expect the Russians to come back this fast, but at the same time they left lots of their flanks open here, so it's a bit of a messy thing. So they do manage to take a bit of land back. But in the end, it kind of gets just chopped up. A few 100,000 dead here, another few 100,000 dead, and some stragglers around. And in the end, the Russians can't afford to hold us up anymore, so they just fall back entirely. They liberate Denmark. the rest of Italy, and then like half half of Germany, as well as them beginning to push into Austria and Slovenia, and they liberate Vienna down here. Hold on, I'm gonna do this little fancy little way. So they push to Vienna, and they hold this the Austrian Alps there. As I was pushing a bit into Slovenia and Istria here, but the Sudeten line is held by the Russians. Berlin is liberated, however, but not by the Prussians, by the ITO. The Sudeten line is held, and the Carpathian line will probably be held for a while as well. So it's pretty impenetrable for the foreseeable future. But they've got their propaganda victory in taking back Berlin. At this point, there's a bloodless coup d'etat in how do you say, Afghanistan, because communism failed them, surprisingly, and they pull out of the war entirely with no repercussions to the Allies, because what they can do anyway, so they're miles away. So they pretty much take their, it's just a military dictatorship, let's say, not communist anymore. A similar thing is about to happen in Pakistan, but well, I'm not spoiling, I'm just saying like the support's building up for it. And down here we see the return of the famed Abkhazians. I can't remember what colour they were, but the Abkhazians return against Russia, who's in a much weaker spot to deal with them now. And at this point, the West underestimated or overestimated how many men Russia had here, and they pretty much ended up walking up through the whole of Kurdistan, up to the Black Sea, back through Georgia, down through Iraq, into Iran, Russia itself, well not Russia itself, Armenia, and liberating Georgia entirely, pushing to Baku and forcing them down through around here. So the Russians are actually starting to lose their own soil right now. The Abkhazian movement joins ITO, which is a bit controversial, they're not very recognised, but well, they're going to push Uhuru either way, so it's probably a more democratic thing to do. And they end up taking up to about here, until Russia starts reinforcing and pushing them back a small bit. I did say small, that's about as far as I get. So it was a valiant effort, but they can't really stop their western advance now, liberating the rest of their Turkish ally, and starting to push into the Bosporus, Turkey, not the Kurdistan one. I'm just trying to label them, but or you say West Turkey, East Turkey, which is weird. She's supposed to be the other way around, but geographically, not politically. Yep, or economically, I suppose. First world, second world, third world. These being second, these being first. I gotta lock it right now. Yeah. At this point, partisans, not even, well, yeah, just partisans rise up to try reclaim their dear Prussia. So sort of the West getting to them, and then this disrupts loads of the. Well, I mean, there was a massive German garrison here who have been forced to fight for the Russians now, and Polish as well, and now they declared independence. They're not anymore. And this just disrupted everything. They let the West walk freedom in return for this back. Military access is the word. And they end up pushing through Carpathian Ruthenia, breaking the Carpathian line, walking down the coast to little pincer maneuvers here, and crushing hundreds of, probably millions of Warsaw Pact troops, or a million at least. And this just caught the Russians off guard entirely, who have now, or not just the Russians, yeah, everyone here. Massive pincer movements along the coast. One final spearhead to Eridine. The communist Turkey finished off. They push through the rest of Greece, liberate Crete, liberate Bulgaria, and they make it pretty much crushing the whole Balkans, catching the Russians off guard, who are now desperately defending what they have left. Crimea is returned back to the ITO for a naval landing. They push up through Wallachia. Oh no, that's Wallachia. That's Bessarabia, Moldavia. And when finally the rest of the Romanian army is captured and they surrender, and the offensive begins into Russia, it's a joint Prussian ITO operation that starts making its way into Russia now, who are starting to freak out. And that coup d'etat I was talking about earlier fires in Pakistan. They're a military dictatorship now. China declares independence from Russia, seizing these little ports as well as Korea as it went. Will the West be happy about either? Well, they won't really care about the ports, but are they happy about Korea? No. So we might see something to do with that. And is the other China happy? Also no. But yeah, we've got two communist Chinas kicking about. They say they don't annex it, they make it a puppet or a satellite state. So yeah, we see just a Russian faction entirely crumbling here, and with no way of getting back out. Of course, the Russians here and whoever Warsaw Pact troops here starve and inevitably get beaten back and will get captured / die, or just die in captivity, or kill themselves, which turns into die. Well, that's depressing. Anyways, yeah, so the Russians have just collapsed at this point. One final well, I'm gonna edit that one out. I just can't dox my boy, I've got to edit that one out. You must be kidding, and I've got to edit it. I hate my life. It's fine. What time stamp was that? Like 16 minutes ish. Alright, it's fine. I don't want to dox my friend. Anyways, yeah, what I was saying. So one final operation from proposed by the British to push through Tehran here and try and capture or just force the Russians into defending Central Asia. Open up a new front, there you go. And it goes well because the Iranians just surrendered at that point, so they can get dragged around by the Russians into doing stuff. So they surrendered entirely, capturing loads of Russian forces there because they got stuck. And then the Central Asian front was in fact opened, and they push up about this far, but supply got to bury them. And yeah, at this point, they've liberate the Baltics and do a liberation of Leningrad, pushing up here while still going through the centre around Ukraine and uniting these fronts. And in the end, Finland starts to be liberated and given back to these guys in return for their cooperation. And that's about as far as they get for this 1987. So yeah, big not good for Russia, as they say. Goodbye.